Good morning. Where the energy at? Y'all kind of. Let's get that one more time. Good morning. Good morning. All right, just want to introduce you to myself. My name is Robert Mance. This is my daughter Maya Mance. We are Elevate. We are from Elevate Farms. We are in Fayetteville. We designed a place where we can actually learn how to grow. We call it our Research and Development Center. All right, so we have fun there. We grow plants. We learn how to grow crops, how to cook with the different things, and so we kind of bring it out to extension to your school. Handle this slide. Oh, I'm sorry. So, Maya, you got any words? No. Not yet. Okay. So this will be an engagement conversation. I'll kind of introduce you to who we are, what our mission is, our vision for our farm. And then we also have a dialogue with you, asking some different questions on how do you design your local food system. So again, we Elevate Farms. We are a research and development center. Our mission is focused on increasing the availability and consumption of safe and nutrient-dense vegetables and herb crops that will improve the nutrition, the health, and the income of people. Our vision is to create a safe environment for children to play and families to commune with the nature. And this will allow us to protect the quality of life for generations to come. All right, so you might ask how we might get there. Next slide. All right, the things that we came up with is we bring the classroom from inside the building out into the real world where the magic of life really happens. All right, by teaching people through our program we call Seed to Harvest. All right, we host pop-up farmers markets, which allow people to participate in today's market, in today's economy. All right, my question to you is, what does a fair local food ecosystem look like? And should everyone have access to fresh, nutrient-dense food that tastes the best? And if so, how can everyone participate and benefit from this system? And what is your reason why for your mission? Anybody want to answer that question? What does it look like to you? Don't know yet? All right, so my reason why, as I looked at our world from an outward position, all right, looking at our system, I asked myself a few questions. Did the design of our food system yield the outcome of the designers? And if I was part of the design team, what would that look like? All right, what outcome would I want? What outcome would you want? Maya, what outcome would you want? What outcome would you want of your food system? Would you want good food?
Yes.
All right, when do you want good food? Come on, you want good food?
Yes.
And when you want it?
Now.
All right, so as I asked my kids what do they want, the design was they wanted good food, and they wanted now. They wanted to have access to it where it's close by. They can walk outside to the garden and pick out a piece of fruit. They can go into the neighborhood and pick out strawberries. So we went through a process of trying to figure out how do we make sure that people have access to good food and good food now. All right, so knowing the power that we have as human beings, all right, to be able to design a system for a future outcome. All right. Do y'all know where that power comes from? Yeah, that power is created in the imagination. Everybody has imagination here, right? So you could think of anything you want to think of, right? So as we decide to think, right, our imagination and our thoughts allow us to create those future systems, right, that we able to have in the future. So I decided to do? I started thinking. Y'all think when y'all ready to do something? You think? All right, so I started thinking. I said, let's create the rules for the future that we desire. All right, so then I had to stop and think. What do we want? Y'all know what y'all want in the food system? What you want? Good and fresh food? What you want? Good tasting food? I ask you, what would you like? What would you like in the food system? He was answering. He's thinking. He's still thinking?
No, I thought you were like pointing at me there.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. You can ask the question. What would you want in the food system? You don't know? Nutrients. You want the food to actually give you health, right? If we have health, right, we don't get sick. What would be your answer? Organic food. All right, so as we decide the things that we want in our food system, all right, I had to actually also ask, what do we hold of value that we want to protect? And so I had to go for inspiration for that. So as I started thinking through these different things, I had to go for different inspiration. And so the inspiration that I went to, next slide. I looked out for inspiration. I found the United States Declaration of Independence. And the phrase gives 3 examples of inalienable rights, which the Declaration says has been given to all humans by the Creator. All right, those rights was life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I decided I wanted to focus on the first one, which was life, right? So food gives you what? Gives you life. All right, so I looked out. I wanted to know more about those organizations and systems that protected these rights on a global scale. And what did the founders, which y'all are the new founders of the new system, right? All right, what are the founders of those organizations designed that protected the rights of life? Next slide. All right, so examples of organizations as you do your research will be, you can look at United Nations, UNESCO, World Health Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, and the list goes on. So these will be different guides as you become the new founders of the system that will affect our world globally. You are able to then design those systems that will protect those rights of life. And so then I got to thinking again. I'm always thinking. My next thought was, can we create those organizations that will affect the next generation? And the conclusion I came to is yes. So as we move forward, next slide. So as we look to design what the future looks like here locally, we can create a model that will be used globally. We can advocate the world organizations and adopt the changes we would like to see for generations to come. All right, so let's put our thinking hat on. So let's put our thinking caps on and see what we can create. All right, any questions? So what do we want, Maya?
Good food.
And when do we want it?
Now.
All right, y'all want to join along with us? All right, what do we want? Good food. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? Good food. And when do we want it? Now. All right, so let's go ahead and get back and we start thinking on how do we design our food system to make sure we have good food and we have it fresh, locally, and nutrient dense. All right, thank y'all for your time. You got any questions? That's the designs we're looking at. So we look at the different systems, right? So we got to know each plant has to be planted. It needs certain sunlight. All right, they need in order to be nutrient dense. Those plants absorb those different minerals that's in the soil. So we got to make sure we have a good soil life, right? We make sure that those plants absorb those nutrients, so then we eat it. So it has a cycle of life. So as we learn the different systems that's things that are important to us, we could then design the rules around what is allowed and what should not be allowed within our food system. What chemicals should be allowed or not allowed? How do we use organic practices? So all those different systems that we design, that as you go back to your classrooms, you will figure out and go into research, and you are the ones, are the new founders to be able to create the new rules. Do you have any questions, Jeff?
All right, what you guys are going to be exploring, and it's not going to show up on the big screen up there, but if you look up on the small one, this is a Jamboard, and this Jamboard here is going to have some different pages. So each of your classes have one spot. So these same questions that Mr. Mance has posed are going to be there for each of your classes, and we're going to commence into a brainstorm session. And this is going to end up being where you're going to put your initial thoughts. So the teachers, we got together. We started to come up with some ideas, but it's not our ideas that matter. It's yours. So there's a page for each class, and when we go back, to give you an idea, this whole gathering at this moment started when we said, who do we know? What do we know? How do we know? We're going to pose those things back to you. So we're about to break up. We're about to go back, and we're going to come up with our ideas and see how can we make this not just an idea, a reality. Who's going to do it? And what do you want? Good food. When do you want it? All right. Any last thoughts, questions you guys have? What you got, Henry? Well, Mr. Cheeseburger Man, you want cheeseburgers? Well, guess what you got to have before you have cheeseburgers? Things to feed the cows. Still is applying. You got to figure it out. What else? I like how you're bringing history into this. We're going to have to reach into the past so we can apply it to our present and plan for the future. These are all relevant questions. This is going to be great. You wish food was made out of animals. Well, guess what animals need, too, for that? They need plants. Is that what you were saying? What if it wasn't? Bees or not? What else? Have we created any designs yet? I cannot believe you asked that question. Have you created any designs yet? Whoa, that's where we're going with this. That's going to be really, really important. Let's take two more. The question was, do we need to have vegetables as a function here? Yeah. So our garden, our area right outside our school, our property goes through seasons of change. We're about to be in fall, and we're going to require all the efforts of you and our school to be able to play into this, to build this system that you have in your brains. It's going to have to be something we put a little bit of work into, and we need you to put that work in. We can do it together. Marvin. That's a great question. What animals are going to go in the garden? You know what? There's animals already there. There are animals you cannot even see. And some of them you can. Some of them are underground. Some of them are above the ground. We need to learn about those, Marvin, so we can be able to determine which ones we need to keep, which ones are in the way of our goals, and do we need other ones? How are we going to bring those in? Great questions. I want you to be thinking about these things. This is what's going to go on the brainstorm piece. Great question. What else? Oh, Mr. Mance, this is a question back to you. When...
Here in Georgia, we actually grow vegetables all year long. Now, depending on the type of vegetables, like tomatoes, peppers, some of those plants like to love a lot of heat. Those plants are grown in the summertime. And now we transition to our fall. You can grow, there's some beans you can still grow. There's a lot of leafy vegetables, your kale, your collards. And there's a lot of different foods outside of the normal vegetables you know, but it's still edible. There's local foods that you can eat. That there's our native plants and some beauty berries and stuff that you can use to make medicines with. So we're going to learn about all the different ways of using the plants that actually, like George Washington Carver did,
And
start your food system, Elevate Farms donating some seeds to your seed library.
Mr. Mance, can I hold off on you a minute? I'm just going to reiterate what was there and hand you the microphone back. I'm going to try to say what you said because it didn't get recorded. Yes, I can only move. So Mr. Mance just reiterated that, from what I understand, the question was, we want to grow, and how are we going to grow? So there's native plants that we want to be able to focus on, plus, and you've been started, basically, can you reiterate what you mentioned?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different plants that has multiple uses. Like, so if you go back to even, like he said, the history of George Washington Carver, there was over, I think, 30 or 40 different ways that he used peanut. So peanut, they turned into paint. It was, can you hear me? Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So it was, they had paint, shampoos. There's a lot of different products that you can use off of just a plant. So we're going to learn multiple ways that you can use off of herbs, off of plants, natives. You can have, there's some different plants that you can make soap with. So we're learning all the different uses of how to use plants for medicine, for to be able to actually create industry. Everything that you see actually came from the earth, right? A cell phone came from the earth. All right, your t-shirts. What kind of plant your shirt come from? Cotton, right? So there's a multiple different ways that we're going to learn how to use, right? How to go into a lab and figure out which ways to use the plant. Also, you can use it as a food, as the ways to eat it, to feed it to different animals. You can grow that cheeseburger that you desire, right? So there's a ways that we're going to go through to be able to learn those different methods of actually learning plants. So what we did to get started with your local food system, we already started into Fayette County Library. We have a seed library there that people can go and collect free seeds to then go back into their gardens to plant. We teach education there of seed starting. We have a program that teaches from how to do from seed to harvest. So all the ways of how to use the plant, the soil you need, the nutrition you need. And we're going to start that program here as well. So part of the plants that we donated here, we have from herbs to carrots to salad greens. If you see it, this box here is full of seeds that we have to go through and organize. This box here is full of seeds and flowers. So there's multiple different things that we can use to grow out, that we can try. If you decide you want popcorn, right? There's certain corn that you grow out to make popcorn. And so that could be a thing that we decide. We want popcorn inside our food system. So what corn do we need to grow? How do we need to process or dry that corn? To then actually pop the corn, to then have popcorn on a movie day, right? So as we develop our food system, everything that you realize around you come from the earth, come from plants. So let's go back into the digging and the information, all right, the research, and develop our new food system. You say you want strawberries? What you gonna make with strawberries?
I don't know. There's a lot of things you can make with strawberry. Strawberry jam. Strawberry.
So now y'all thinking, right? Your brain is thinking. So let So we have also like different herbs, lavender. What can you make with lavender? Oils, lotions. Yeah, perfumes, right? So not only can you eat plants, but you can use them for multiple different uses. You got a question for me? You can make what? Say a shake? Frozen? Grimace? What's a grimace shake?
A grimace shake.
Oh, okay. Well, guess what I made the other day? I made a burger out of avocados. Yeah, so you could be very creative. You can use your imagination. We said, where does it start at, right? Your imagination and your thoughts. You can create anything out of the basic bare raw materials and you become the new scientist, design what you want, make sure you use it as a natural product, that it doesn't have any chemicals that harms the body, right? So try to keep it as natural as possible. That is our goal. Any questions, Mr. Eller?
No, I think that is an amazing jump start. So where you have left us, we are now at the put our thinking caps on. So we're going to wrap this up. We thank you, Maya and Mr. Mance from Elevate Farm, for sharing with us. And we're going to wrap this thing up, head back to our home bases, and get some collaboration going.